Sir, DC is falling apart. What should we do?
Ew, stealing man, what we have always done. What projects do we have right now?
Well, we got a Batgirl.
Exit! Do it right now.
Justice League, the sequel.
Wait, no, you did not just say that. Do you want the Snyder fans beating my ass again for another, like, Snyder cut? No, shoot it!
Man of Steel 2.
Cancel that one too, we can use it for a tax write-off.
What about the Wonder Woman game we have been cooking up, sir? It's almost pretty much finished now.
Is it a good game?
Yeah, it seems pretty fun.
Then simple, cancel it for tax write-off right now. Let me show you something. Come here, look into this. We're making a game better than any game that has ever existed. Better than Minecraft, Fortnite, GTA, Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption.
Oh,
And our corporate soulless team told us to call it DC Dark Legion. Like, come on here, man. Look at these ads. We're gonna make millions, like money. Oh my god, money. Do you see the potential in this?
you know what?
I'm gonna shove all of that money up your ass.
DC is mine now. Get the f
Out of here.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I see the DC downfall happening, and Marvel just in every single way crushing it. Like, look at Marvel, look at their games, look at their movies, how everything is doing, and then we got
I know
DC.
sex exists. I've just
What the hell are you doing, man?
Except if we bring up comic quality and solo movies, those are still goated. And this was also my view of how James Gunn took over DC. But now that he's the main man behind every choice and movie released by DC from now, I wanted to bring up what exactly James Gunn needs to focus on. And it has to happen right now, because if it doesn't, we have been getting so much garbage, so much disappointment, so much stuff from DC. Either they're canceling some of the cool things that they're working on, or the things they're working on either like it's just like garbage. We got the Flash. What the fuck is the Flash? And then we got, I don't know, Aquaman 2.
What the fuck is Aquaman 2?
Just make something good, for the love of God. You got Marvel constantly cooking, sometimes fucking up really bad, and then we got this guy only fucking do something. Do something good, please. So there's a total of 9 exact things that DC needs to follow to make sure that it's gonna be just as amazing as Marvel, or even better, or just the glorious era of DC actually happens. 1. A long-term plan is a must in order to make DC become just as beloved as Marvel during phase 1, 2, and 3. Just look at how Marvel shows off these timelines and the movies that are working in different phases or even different years, and then there's like different sagas. We got the Infinity Saga, and then we got the garbage is like a multiverse saga, and we're gonna get the Mutant Saga after it. Mwah! That's gonna be so peak, man. Mutant Saga. Oh my god. And pretty much, yeah, this is such a good idea, making people look up to the future, having a proper like plan and everything, showing up what movies they're working on. This plan is just like needed, even for DC. Marvel made one solo movie focused on one of their heroes, who they were planning to make them one of the Avengers, or even teasing the creation of the Avengers during those movies. Just imagine if Marvel never did that and instead just came to us grabbing a triple X burger and just going to eat, just pushing it in your mouth. Eat it up, my boy. Yes, let me shove it deep into your mouth. Oh wait, DC already did that. That's why a good plan is needed in order to make a cinematic universe actually feel like a cinematic universe. So pretty much before anything, make solo movies on the characters who will form the Justice League. Kind of like how Nick Fury just keep coming out in different movies before the Avengers, being like, hey, you right there, you're mine now. I own you. Join my team. And just to make you understand how important this topic is, without a long-term plan, a cinematic universe just cannot exist. The whole point of this idea was to create a world of connected movies that build up into a meaningful conclusion. If you don't got any long-term plan and you're just like randomly being like, oh, actually that's a good idea, let's do it. Oh yeah, that's a good idea too, let's do it. Then you're just making a mess. The movies don't really feel connected. You cannot really make post-credit scenes that actually tease the future in a cool way. You cannot connect the worlds and the movies together. The effects that like the things that happen in this movie, it's not gonna really affect the next movie, and I'm gonna be like, are they even in the same universe? They feel like different universes. Is the Nick Fury in this movie actually the same Nick Fury in that show? Why are they so different? Why nothing about them seems related? What the hell is going on, Marvel? DC needs to make sure whatever happened here doesn't happen with them. But enough of that. 2 O's. Comic accuracy is a must, but now hear me out. I don't really mean to just copy paste the comic and make everything exactly the same as the comics in the movies, just make it identical. That would probably be a bad idea, because if someone has already read the comics and the story is exactly the same, there is nothing unique about the movie, or maybe the comic doesn't really transition well into a movie, so let's not do that. Unless we are making an animation, normally a direct transition from comics to animation works pretty well. But I more so mean to keep the elements and the core structures the same, then add unique touches to the core structure. Don't just 360 completely change everything about the character, make the character from like something that is just into a completely different thing. It doesn't look the same, it doesn't sound the same, the powers are not the same, nothing about it is the same. Just it's a whole new character, but you give it the same name. Why would you do that? Do not do that. Look at my boy Sentry. He's kind of different from the comics, but also is really similar. He's kind of a new take on the same idea, which is exactly what we need. Or the Iron Man suits, they're nowhere near being identical to the comic ones. But then the core structure, the colors, and the design ideas are still like really similar. It's the same thing, just the outside layer is a tiny bit different. It's basically just an evolved version of the suits in the comics and just like a new take on it. And I would say that the new Superman suit mostly respects that rule because the colors are exactly the same, the logo is actually one of the logos from the comics, the cape looks pretty much identical, it also got the belt and then it got the underwear, do we call it the underwear or what do we, stop looking at his banan. What the hell is wrong with you? So that's the type of comic accuracy which I believe is needed. Not really going like, yo, look at this, it's Superman! Shut your Sibao up! Doritos. The villains matter more. Tell me some of your favorite Marvel and DC movies, you can do it in the comics. We got Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Captain the Winter Soldier, and then we got Captain Civil War. For Love and No, sorry, Ragnarok, put that garbage away. Black Panther, Penguin, Batman Dark Knight, the second movie, and some others. Now tell me, what do every single one of these have in common? Easy, a super duper mega giga ultra max villain that must be, not just is, must be one of the biggest reasons why you're such a big fan of these movies. 90% of superhero movies have a story which is focused on taking down the villain for whatever reason. This means that what? If your villain sucky, then your story also yucky, and when this villain sucky, the story yucky, the entire movie wacky, it's gonna be garbage, it's gonna be trash. Why would I even watch it when the story is sucky? Why am I even watching? What? Because again, the goal of your story is to take down the villain, so the whole point of the story is the villain, and if the villain is not interesting, then the whole point of the story is not interesting. Imagine replacing High Evolutionary or Ronin in Guardians of the Galaxy movies with Darben. A nuke bomb would not cause as much damage as she would do to those stories and those movies. Those movies will go from total masterpieces, absolute blast to watch, to dumpster garbage trash disgusting ew. A really good villain will make you root for the heroes to take him down. It will always make following the road in your story more interesting. And it makes you even take the story more seriously. For example, the Dark Knight movie is not really known as one of the best DC movies because of Batman, but rather Joker. Then the third movie in that franchise was less enjoyable because how is Bane gonna compete with Joker? Even though Bane was actually decent, how are you gonna compete with Joker? Kung Fu Panda 3 was disappointing to some people. Why? Because the second movie's villain was like, mwah. Have you seen the second movie's villain? Oh my god, he was so good! And then the third movie also had a really good villain, but how are you gonna compete with Lord Shen? How? Impossible! Which was exactly why again, people did not enjoy the third movie as much as the second movie, because of the villains. Not Poe. Poe was really good in both of them. So as you can see, even if you have a banger hero, the villain will always become what makes your movie a masterpiece. Or on the other side, garbage, trash, not worth watching, and so on. Now, sometimes there are some movies that don't really need a masterpiece of a villain to be amazing, and those are most of the time origin stories because they're more focused on the hero rather than the story. Because if you think about it, those movies are kind of developing the character. Your focus is on the suffering of the character rather than who the villain is or how to take down the villain. You don't really care that much about the villain makes the story more fun, but the main character, the hero, he's the entire focus of the story. You could say something like the first Iron Man movie, where it was much more focused on developing Iron Man, the suffering he goes through, how he becomes Iron Man, and much less focused on the villain of that story. The villain was alright, it was decent, 100%. So again, if DC wants to compete with Marvel, unless they're making an origin story movie, they need to come up with a banger villain, someone to the levels of Thanos. Froze! Proper choice in movies. I would say that this was my biggest problem with the Snyderverse era of DC. It really felt like everything was super rushed and the movie ideas that should have happened years in the future instead were just like happening at the start of the DC universe. It was exactly what made me not really be into that era of DC, man. It was like, okay, we just introduced the universe and then suddenly we're making the movies that we should have made in the end of the universe at the start of the universe, and then my brain was like, why? Just look at it from my mind. Man of Steel, okay, amazing choice to start the universe with, and pretty much exactly what James Gunn is doing right now. So that must mean that the next movie is gonna be a Batman focused movie, right? They're gonna show the origin of Batman and everything just like how they did with Superman, right? It makes sense. Right? Let's instead just already make a conflict between Superman and Batman wanting to beat each other's asses, Batman being like, damn that ass. Even though we haven't even really seen the Batman of this universe yet, we have seen nothing about it, we have not seen his suit, we have not seen how he became Batman, why is he Batman, how is he like, why does he kill people, does it explain why he kills people, why does he shoot people, why does he throw grenades at people, why do you do that, what is the reason behind that? You should have had a movie to explain why before you go shooty killy smacky people. We got zero connections with this Batman in his universe. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then right away we have to be like, okay, Batman is gonna fight Superman. I'm like, you should have done that in the future. No. No! So not only the movie had to develop Batman as a character, his origin, who he is, his suit and everything, how is he like, but also create the reason why Batman wanna even smack that ass. But then also make the fight happen in the same movie too, but oh wait, since this is just the second movie in the franchise, we're also gonna use it as a way to form the Justice League and like be like Superman and Batman, they're gonna kind of become friends, they're gonna make a team, and how do they do it? How would I come up with an actual good idea to do it? No, instead they got the same mother's name. Superman is gonna be like, save Martha, and Batman is gonna be like, oh god, PTSD. Oh no, PTSD. No, why did you say that? I'm gonna forgive you. I'm like, so now like the movie already has a lot to handle, now we gotta handle like being kind of the start of Justice League. Batman vs Superman should have been like the 5th or the 8th movie of the franchise, just like how Civil War was in Marvel. Marvel properly planned out and created this Civil War idea in their universe, and it was one of their best movies ever because it happened in the future, not at the start of the universe. Because it connected so many different like elements and moments in the past movies and everything together to create this conflict and the reason why the Civil War happens. But nah, when you put Batman vs Superman, which is basically just another Civil War, you put it at the second movie of your franchise, so like the only thing you got that causes this conflict is the first movie, and that's it. And in my personal opinion, the things that happened in the first movie were just not enough. Is Batman that much of a weirdo killer, like hungry for blood, that after just like meeting Superman, not enough like reasons to kill him, he's already like, I'm gonna shoot you. You just ruined Batman for me, man. Batman in that, like Snyder's Batman is garbage. I like Superman, but Batman in that franchise was this garbage. But oh wait, look at that. Ooh, finally another like single character focused movie, Wonder Woman. That's good, but it can be better. This is the third movie of the DC universe, right? And it's a prequel! Do you want me to suffer an eternal torture and pain and suffering? Why are you doing everything backwards right now? I don't get it. A prequel should be something that comes down in the line when you have made too many current movies, then you do prequel. You do not just introduce Wonder Woman in Batman vs Superman just to show her origin story after the introduction. How does that even work? You most of the time put the origin story first, then you bring it up to like fight with the other characters, to what she's gonna, whatever she's gonna do with the other characters, not first of all put her in, show her doing things, and then you put the origin story.
When you give squeeze, you get middle finger that say fuck you.
That's like, imagine this, you meet up with Captain America the first time at the Avengers movie, and then after the Avengers movie is done, then you're gonna get the first Captain America movie to find out how he even became I'm gonna be like, no, that would ruin the Avengers movie. The whole point of the Avengers movie is that the characters we have seen coming together. Not first of all the characters come together, then we see who they even are. Why? But if all of that is not enough to show you how like annoyed I used to be with like this. Stop doing the beep beep beep. Thank you. But if that's not enough to show you how annoyed I used to be with like the Snyderverse era, guess worse. It somehow gets worse. Do you remember Justice League? Before a Cyborg movie or a Flash movie or I don't know, an Aquaman movie, you make the Justice League movie before those and you do it again. Was Aquaman a prequel? It kind of felt like a prequel, so I'm just gonna call it you then make Aquaman. I'm like, no, you first should have made the Aquaman movie, you first should have made the Flash movie, the Cyborg movie, and then Justice League. So we know these characters, we're introduced to them, then you do Justice League. Are you dumb? Imagine if, for example, the Avengers, before we got Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk movie, or all the other ones, first of all we get the Avengers movie, and then we get the Iron Man origin, then we get the Captain America origin, then we get the Hulk movie and all of those, not before it. That would have 1000% made the Avengers movie not even close to as special as the other one was. Or imagine making the Thor movie after the Avengers movie. No! So this is how the original DC universe should have done it. They should have started with Superman, then Wonder Woman movie, then the Batman with a teaser to Batman vs Superman in it. Then the Aquaman movie, and after that makes the Batman vs Superman after you already have a couple of movies to show off like even more reasons why Batman is gonna hate Superman, or even build Batman as a character first before they fight each other. With start of talks about the Justice League and small teasers at the end of these movies. DC Universe was genuinely just wasting so many good stories just because they were doing them like too fast. Way too fast. They need to chill and calm down a little bit. Then after Batman vs Superman, do a Flash movie. Flash begins a teaser to the villain that is gonna play a role in Justice League. And in the end of that movie also Batman goes to hire him for the Justice League too. Then maybe instead of Shazam you make a Green Lanterns movie so he can also be part of the team. You show off even more about the Justice League, about the villain in that movie too. And then after 5, 6 or 7 movies, after properly developing your characters, then you make the Justice League movie and you can keep Cyborg for the future if you don't want to do it before. At least that's just one character, not every single one of the characters. FIFA. Quality over quantity. This is what I would say almost killed Marvel. They were cooking some bangers, Marvel was becoming the biggest thing in all of cinema, and Disney just came in doing something that they do to everything they own. Just go he, grab the milky thing on the cow and you just milk the cow. Milk it harder. AKA quantity over quality. And would you look at that? Maybe quantity over quality is not a good idea after all, because Marvel was starting to lose money instead of making money. That's why I say quality is king in making superhero movies, because there is already too much superhero shows and movies releasing all over the place. So once there is too much of a product, then the only way to actually stand out, actually make money, make people interested into watching your movie in the theater is gonna be if your movie is actually goated, is actually interesting, is actually better than the others, better than the competition. What if not? If you're just making out garbage slop to just throw in more and even more, who's gonna watch them? You need Captain America Civil War or the Winter Soldier, Avengers Infinity War, Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy, Dark Knight movies and such. You need to put in the time and do your research, make sure that your characters actually feel like they should. The story especially is well done and emotional, and nothing feels like that they should have been done better or something should have been different and things like that. Just make the movie as amazing as it can be. But if you go for quantity instead, there is so much movies coming out. We're already getting like a third Spider-Verse movie, which are some of the best like superhero movies ever. I will go watch that. Why I will go watch, I don't know, Black Widow or what else? When I can watch actual peak right now. 6 Zeus. Consistent tone and vision. You see how Marvel after phase 3 was like, this movie we're making is unlike any other Marvel movie we have made, or that movie we're making is unlike any other Marvel movie we have made, or this show is more grounded than any other. But that's actually a bad thing. Why? Because it was almost killing me right now. This is a shared universe, which means that every single movie in it, everything needs to feel similar, need to feel like they're actually in the same universe, and need to feel like sequels to each other. Going from the Captain America movie to the Iron Man one to the Avengers 4 and such, all of them had a similar type of vibe to each other. And every single movie actually felt like an MCU movie, not a movie made by someone else, not a movie that is trying to be a completely different thing than actual Marvel. But then for some reason Marvel in Phase 4 was like, no more doing the consistent thing, throw away the consistency, we're gonna get rid of what made us actually popular, let's try some new things, let's become a horror movie genre. One reason why the older Marvel movies felt like so interesting, people wanted to watch every single one of them back to back, they were always hyped for the future one, was because it felt like a huge show. It felt like a show that every single year you got a new chapter of it, everything was completely connected, it felt like it's the exact same universe, and everything just worked together really well. You don't need to reinvent how everything works, you just need to keep the same core idea and do some unique new ideas in the middle of it. Let's go from a serious movie onto suddenly a super duper goofy movie, and I'm like, how is this serious movie in the same universe as this goofy movie? That makes no sense. It's like the crowd of people who want the Batman movie to be in the same universe as the Superman movie, and I'm like, no, do not do that. Because the Batman movie has nothing, absolutely nothing in common with the Superman movie we're getting. So then you're gonna break the whole rule, the whole idea around like this is a shared universe, so everything needs to work together, and then you're gonna shove in the Batman into this universe that is like completely different structure, completely different idea. It's not gonna work, man. It's gonna ruin the franchise. Don't do that. No. The 7. You know what I hate? Too much seriousness. No joke, no humor, no funny, no personality, no nothing. Like for example, look at the Penguin show. It was a really serious show, but also it did have humor. It had some really funny moments that gave Penguin actual personality to like. You should never make a character way too serious, but there's also another thing that you should never do, and it's too much goofiness. Like a goofy, doofy, funny, haha, cringe ass, overdone jokes type of character trying to fit into Gen Z. Bringing up TikTok dances and shit just like hurting my soul, making me go through like every single type of torture, pain and sickness. For example, we got Thor and Love and Thunder. Every single second of that movie was just jokes over jokes over jokes over jokes. Even at the serious moments it was jokes over jokes over jokes, and it was like watching that movie made me suffer and die in pain because I do not like Goofy. Too much Goofy hurts my soul. It cringes me out. Stop. Do not treat me like a goldfish that every single 2 seconds my attention span is gonna go away, so you need to put a new joke to make sure that jingle jingle jingle.
Wake up! It's time to wake up!
I'm gonna chop your balls. To me, a perfect comic superhero movie is one that has a great balance between serious emotional moments and humor. And that's actually something which James Gunn has always been amazing with. You look at Guardians of the Galaxy, it has some of the funniest moments in all of Marvel. While also at the same time, you got some of the most emotional, some of the saddest, some of the most like painful scenes to go through in Guardians of the Galaxy movies, which is made by James Gunn. The Suicide Squad, the second one, a brilliant movie, very fun with King Shark. But also a tragic story with deaths in it, with like really interesting, really emotional moments, and just an awesome story in the movie. Same thing goes for The Peacemaker. I had so much fun watching that movie because also I love John Cena. He's one of my favorite like actors. He also he's such a goat, man. But not just funny, it also had really emotional, really interesting like moments, especially with like Peacemaker's dad, and also it had like a great story, I would say. And I really really hope that James Gunn is gonna keep that up with like this new DC universe, because he has not missed yet. Every single movie as he has made on like superheroes, they have all been goated. A tomato! Do you remember what DC used to cook with? Their games. They had some of the best games, and Marvel had some garbage trash games. Marvel had something like the Avengers, and then DC had something like the Dark Knight, the Batman. Oh my god, the Batman games were so good. But what do they suck at now? Their games. Have you seen like the DC games? I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Because Marvel, they're cooking. Marvel, it just replaced DC. Marvel right now is what DC used to be. Look at their games. Look at Spider-Man. Marvel after Ages finally understood the importance of making banger games on the side of movies, because these games can be great ways to elevate the love of the fans for the franchise, and makes them get to experience these fictional worlds or characters onto deeper levels, actually kind of live inside of them, explore them, things like that, become kind of part of them. But then for some reason we got like the guy, the GOAT who used to make some of the best superhero games ever, just coming out just like, man, like, we're making a Wonder Woman game. It's almost finished. Nah, cancel it. Do you know what we're gonna make? We're gonna make the Suicide Squad game, which is like, it's one of the Suicide Squad game, in my opinion, was actually worse than the Avengers game, or equally garbage. And instead of making another Batman game like the other Batman games, or making a Superman game as good as the Batman games, or making something like Marvel Rivals, no, we're gonna cancel every game, delete this game, put it in the trash, put it in the garbage. Instead, we're gonna make this game. Look at this game. Mwah, such a cooking masterpiece, like a piece of history. Do I need to say more? I don't think so. James Gunn used to make Marvel movies. He's pretty much friends with Kevin Feige. And I would say that creates one of the biggest opportunities in all of cinema. Imagine after James Gunn is finished making at least like 10 movies or even more, making a couple of Justice League movies and so on. Then Marvel is also done with their multiverse saga or the mutant saga. Then we're gonna get these two just meeting up like, yo, you wanna make lots of money? Do you like money? And then the other guy is gonna be like, who doesn't like money? Give me money, how are we gonna make money? And then he's gonna be like, I got one of the most brilliant ideas ever that is gonna make us so much money. We're gonna swim in money. We're gonna make an entire ocean of money. We're gonna buy the planet Earth with the money. And then the other guy is gonna go like, ho, money. And what is he exactly signing? Think about it. After DC is finished properly building their universe and doing some cool things in it, like some Justice League movies and so on, we should get one whole phase of Marvel and DC movies where every project, everything they make is a collaboration between the two worlds. It's kind of like the two universes have collided, the two worlds have collided, and one of them must survive. We get a movie focused on Iron Man and Batman meeting each other, then Superman and Thor. Another movie maybe with Captain America and Wonder Woman. These movies would make the two sides slowly become friends and care about one another. But then in a final movie, we have the two sides having to separate from each other again, and now they have to fight one another for the sake of the survival of their universe. So one side has to go and the other side stays. And just think about how much of a masterpiece, goddamn perfection that is gonna be. DC vs Marvel in a final movie after movies hyping it up before. Oh my god! You cannot tell me that would explode the world. The hype levels is gonna be 1,000 times bigger than Avengers Endgame. This movie would make billions of dollars, billions upon billions upon billions. It's gonna be like the most popular, the most like money-making movie ever. Which is why I say, now that James Gunn is in the head of like DC, and James Gunn and Kevin Feige know each other, they first of all need to do this, but also I feel like they probably already are planning it, so I think we're in good hands. I think this is gonna be cooking really hard from now, and I think we're back. Also, you like what I did with the background? There were just a bunch of garbage books here, and I was like, nah, let's actually give it some taste, some personality, so I put Iron Man. Do you see? That's my GOAT. That's my main in Marvel Rivals. That's my boy right there. I'm trying to get Batman too. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me which part of the video was the most interesting to you, or what other things you would recommend to DC to do so DC becomes just as popular as Marvel. And we got this video right here. If you enjoyed this video that you watch right now, you're gonna also love this video. Trust me, it's such a good video. People actually love this video. It talks about which of the new Marvel heroes are actually good and which of them are garbage.